but like in Australia, we got House of Representatives that are voted in, and then you got the senators that are voted in. But then, like, when say right now, you got ScoMo. It's the Liberal Party that's currently making government.
For those that are unaware of Australian politics, ScoMo is our Prime Minister, Scott Morrison.
Oh, your politics are so fucked up that your
You're
Prime Minister can
telling
change from day to
me
day. Like,
that they would vote
holy
Liberal. It's
shit!
fine.
It's like
Don't worry
one
about it.
day, like, it's like, who was that one that got caught like shirtless in his fucking like jockstrap?
That
Budgie
was
smugglers, Tony
Tony
Abbott.
Tony
No,
Abbott.
no, Tony Abbott. Fuck, I miss him so much.
There's a
When
meme.
Tony Abbott was in charge, it was great. He was by far the greatest prime minister you've had.
I'm not gonna go talk about.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna talk about this for too long. I don't want to get myself in trouble. But look up Scott Morrison Macca's 1997. That's all I need to say. There is a big rumor going around about our prime minister. Just Google it. Just please Google it, Cordell, and then I'll know you've Googled it and have seen something when you laugh. But yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. This recent election has been a nutty one. A lot of tribalism has happened. A lot of divide. Like a lot of people voted for like different parties they would then otherwise like vote for. Cordell Smirk has given me the confirmation that he's seen it. Yeah, like so there's a huge divide and a lot of people voted for different like basically different parties than they usually would vote for. Like because usually we have Labor, which Labor would be the closest thing to Democrats, and then Liberals, which would be more like the Republicans.
Australia's 5th prime minister in 6 years.
Yes.
That's us.
Yep. Yeah, so like Liberals is a coalition between Liberals and the National Party, right?
Sorry.
Coalition's National Party, LNP.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is really a really
Coalition with Liberal as well.
which is really weird. That there's like
Yes,
basically
we've had confirmation from Bill.
coalition. So basically, like the National Party and the Liberals is counted as one party, and they basically can just like gang up and do their own thing. Like that's such a weird concept. Imagine like there's like Republicans and like Democrats, but then like the Democrats had like another party. They're like another big party that they're like teamed up with. So it's basically two versus one. Which is like I don't know. It's so strange.
Hey, gamer X1321.
So I think like maybe it's like I suppose we have like the Greens would be closer to Labour, so maybe that's so it's 2v2. I don't know. Yeah, it's so strange.
It's weird. You guys have a liberal government, which is weird.
We have a Liberal what? Sorry.
Like a liberal conservative government.
Yes, that's
or conservative liberal government, which is very weird.
Yes, it's
like because normally it's like conservative is the far right and liberals are the far left.
Yep, and
if Labor and the Greens did that, we would never get a Liberal government.
Yeah.
Did what?
Ganged up.
Look, I wouldn't mind it.
Me neither.
But it's
I like the environment. I like the planet. I really look forward to like having my kids be like live.
We'll die soon.
Be able to see.
That's
anything.
the misconception. Everyone goes like, "Oh, you always talking about the polar bears and the penguins dying off." Like, yeah, that mean like
you have to make it an economic benefit for people for them to care. Unfortunately, and
that's
what I've learned in my course is that you can present as many problems to people as you possibly can. Like everything that you know, and they could still not give a single shit unless you put a monetary value on it or you personally relate it to them and their lifespan. Because people are selfish.
Yeah, I mean, that's what makes me so triggered about it. This whole thing is that, like, so people don't care about things. And, like, so say parents go, you know, they leave their kids retirement when they pass on, they leave them in an estate. I'm like, cool, you're leaving an estate, you know, you choose what you want to do with that money. Then if there's nothing for you, like say if you leave them a coastal house by the beach, but then by the time you pass away, the beach is underwater because the ocean rose by like half a meter. Cool. That's because you like voted for the wrong people. Like you're not voting for the future. I mean, that's my personal opinion. I think. But like, it's really weird. Australian politics, man, has really done a weird turn. I mean, it's kind of taking like a image of American politics.
I think it makes it really hard, especially for people, not to get too serious right now, but for people our age, because like we're 20, you can vote at 18, and when you start voting, I think not everybody votes when they're 18 because there's
Yeah.
not an election, but also like we're only just starting now to learn about it. Like this year, I think we can speak because we voted back in 2017 for something.
Yes,
It
or
was a state election.
Yeah.
And I did hardly any research into that.
Yeah.
I think I still voted how I maybe should have. I would have maybe done it a bit differently, but this time around, we for sure did a lot more research into it. And unfortunately, that's because we are in tertiary education. We get exposed to a lot of people that are like that. But having this political climate makes it really hard for young people like us to want
even
to
have an
learn
opinion.
about it.
Yeah.
Because you're like, why should I bother? It's going to be a different prime minister in 3 days. It's going to be a different government next week. Like, we just don't know. And so it's like, why should I bother? Because there's no payoff for me. I won't
Yeah.
actually get to choose something and then see that change be implemented, which I think is really sad, because I'm sure that, I mean, I like to consider myself a smart person, and I'm sure that I would be a lot more interested in it if it was a more solid government.
Yeah, I think the next thing is that it's super, super, super scary to have someone 16, 17 not be able to participate in these sort of conversations because they're too young and too stupid to know. You don't know anything. You don't have an experience about how the government works. And then you turn 18 and expect these people, the same people, to vote.
To understand everything and to
understand
use their
everything.
vote
And then
wisely.
these same people to go, you should know how your government runs and you should be participating in
Yeah.
these votes and not make your vote count. And
like,
I'm
you get there
you
and they're
can't
like, you need to
flip-
do a strategic vote, and you're like, no one's ever told me what that means.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever told me how to use a freaking ballot paper.
And like that's kind of why, I mean, it sounds so stupid. I think everyone should vote, but like at least in America, people vote because they want to vote, whereas in Australia, people vote because they have to vote.
I
And
think
No,
No, hold up.
in America, only like less. I think it's less than 50%
that's
vote or
that's what I'm
something.
saying. But sometimes they do it because they want to, right? They feel like they're making a change. But in Australia, it's like you vote and you're voting based on what your parents want you to vote for. You vote on based on like just being an asshole. Maybe you want to be spiteful and vote against what your parents are voting for. You maybe just don't like the guy in charge. People vote based on what the prime minister looks like. A lot of people didn't vote for Jordan because he has a big head. So like, if I became running for
saying-
prime minister, no one vote for me because I got a fucking big forehead, and people would just not vote for me based on the size of my forehead, not me based on me being a good guy or anything like that. Just my
they
fucking
were
forehead.
saying that I mean, I don't love the project, but the project was saying that just before the election, the two most googled things were, how tall is Bill Shorten, and what is are Sarah Hanson Young and Pauline Hanson related?
Yeah.
That's the shit that people are googling about our like senators.
And like, I think obviously you have a fair representation of like the voters, the general voters, but it's really weird to think that me, an average person, you, an average person,
Mm-hmm.
are not the average person.
Yeah.
Like, in terms of opinions,
Yeah,
ours are
absolutely.
here, and these guys are way over here as
Yeah.
an average. And I'm like,
How does that work?
that's outside of my normal bubble to think that the average is so far different to me. Like, I'm a different person in general, but like, if my average people I'm around are like way, way, way off than the normal people,
that's
you
part
guys
of it.
on the stream, you're unnatural compared to the average person. Like, it's really weird to think that. You know what I mean?
Like, for
Did you know that if you have 2 legs, you have more than the average human?
Yeah, exactly. That's a good example. That's a perfect example there, Cordell. Like, you have 2 legs, you have more than the average person. Like, that's exactly what, like, how this works.
just quickly, just kind of touching on that, I study environmental science, like I said before, and that means that naturally the circles that of course I'm exposed to different people, like you study a different degree to me, and I also work at a pub, so that's a different thing as well. My boss, neither of my bosses were university or tertiary educated, or well, one of them got a trade, but he started that when he was at high school age. But mostly I run in circles. The people that I choose to surround myself with have similar beliefs to me because that's what everybody does.
Yeah.
And
tribalism.
therefore I think that what I think is normal and the
Yeah.
way that I vote is normal. And I'm like, well, why wouldn't anybody vote for that? And I actively said, and we were having a conversation about this, the people that I surround myself, that it sounds terrible, but it's almost how I validate the people that I'm around is who did they vote for? Because that's where it comes down to. And the people that I value highly in terms of making big life decisions with, involving in my big life decisions, I base off of where their moral compass sits, and that is shown in who they vote for. Words mean a lot, but when you get in there and you vote for someone.
Yeah, that's the big thing. Do you know
Yeah.
what scares me a lot? And I'm gonna bring your dad up. Your dad is a very, 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 very conservative, liberal man, but you just told me.
yes, so
that
last
he
night-
voted for Labour.
Last night I came
That is
home.
weird.
He'd had a couple of wines, I'm pretty sure. But I came home and he was sitting on the couch and we just had a chat briefly. And he said he ran into one of his old uni friends, and he was trying to, I think the point he was getting across then was that people can be good people, but they can be not good at what they do. So this guy
Yes,
that he was
politicians.
no, but this guy that he was friends with in uni, he was a really nice guy and he always had really good intentions. He wouldn't hurt a fly kind of thing.
Yeah.
But he would do these group projects and he would just like royally fuck it up. Like everything he would do, he would just do it so wrong. He was so bad at it. And of course, that's frustrating when you're in a group project with someone and they do the wrong thing or they do a bad job. You want to
Yeah.
get shitty at them. But overall, he's a good person. And Dad said, like, it took him a while to figure that out. Like, he's 60 something now and he's now just realizing, like, no, this guy was a good guy. He was just shit at what he was doing at the time.
Yeah.
And this guy was in our electorate, he was kind of an advocate for the Liberal Party.
Yeah.
And he was helping to like hand out things during the election. And Dad ran into him at the supermarket the other day.
Before you voted?
No, afterwards,
After.
the other day.
Okay.
So he ran into him at the supermarket and he saw him and he said, look, like, hey, I'm sorry, I couldn't do it this time. And he
Oh.
openly told him that he could not vote for
Jeez.
the Liberal leader in my electorate because he was just like, I'm sorry, I couldn't do it again. And I don't know why he didn't give me a whole lot of reason, but I think he told me that when Scott Morrison held up that
Piece of coal.
the coal and was
Oh
like, you
my-
shouldn't be scared of this, that was the tipping point for my dad. And I don't know why. Obviously, I don't know how my dad thinks
I
because he's got a
think-
different brain, but
I
that was the tipping point.
Wow.